The dark psychology of Jon Jones.
If you want to know how a psychopath can operate in the real world, look no further than UFC fighter Jon Jones.
This guy's got a lot of demons, man. A lot of demons.
Are you a good guy trying to be bad, or are you a bad guy trying to be good?
I hate you.
Damn!
Albuquerque police are still looking for UFC champ Jon Bones Jones for a hit-and-run crash that happened yesterday.
I think I am a bad guy that's trying to be good. Just because religiously we're all sinners.
The events in his life are nothing short of fascinating, being so dedicated to becoming the best fighter on earth.
So what he said, do you guys, since he said we're all sinners, right? So do you guys think we're all born to be evil? And we're all born evil trying to be good? Or do you think that some people are actually born good and they're just affected by evil because evil is in the environment? And if that's the case, the second where we're all good and then we're affected by evil in the environment, which is probably what I believe because you are your environment, maybe then we can get to a certain point where the positivity is your environment and we can all reach a certain point of consciousness where we're actually all hyper positive. However, that sounds extremely realistic right now because of the amount of diversity that's going on in our society. And you need the negativity to grow. However, I don't think that we're born negative and we're born evil. I think that we are born in a world where we understand everything and we choose to be evil or we choose to be good.
Jones is the youngest champion in UFC history!
But then a complete incapability to maintain order in his normal life. And his darkness is definitely something that needs to be studied.
We've got a possible DV call, professional MMA fighter, Jonathan Jones.
You're the f***ing scum of the earth. You are a terrible human being, but you can sure turn it on, huh?
Thank you.
Thank you, right?
Before we delve into the darker chapters
Oh
of Jon
goodness.
Jones' life, it's important to understand his roots and where it all began.
Alright,
Jon was
bet.
born into a family steeped in athletic prowess. His older brother Arthur and younger brother Chandler both made careers in the NFL, achieving notable success in professional football, whilst Jon took a different path, pursuing mixed martial arts. Athleticism and competition were core to the Jones family, but each sibling found a unique way to channel their talents. Growing up in a religious household with a pastor for a father, Jon was instilled with traditional values and a sense of discipline from a young age. His family emphasized the importance of faith and moral principles, aiming to guide him and his siblings in the right direction. However, life wasn't free from tragedy. His older sister Carmen passed away after a long battle with cancer. This loss was devastating for Jon and may have contributed to his inner turmoil and search for meaning. This tragic event left a lasting mark on Jon, who as a teenager sought purpose and direction in life. During this period of soul searching,
Bro, y'all seen that video where bro is like his whole family's kind of cooked? Let me play it up real quick.
Now, when you're watching your brother fight, what's going through your head? Do you get nervous, or are you like,
Man, I mean, I get more nervous than that. I can play football games all day. I can do it in my sleep. But when my brother's out there in the octagon, man, I get the worst bubble guts, sweats. I'm a nervous wreck. You know, and the day, you know, he's been successful for a long time, but at the day, I can't control what happens when that cage lock. And me being an older brother, you know, my mom always taught us, mom and dad, my mom was really the bully of the family. That's
Interesting.
where John get it from. But my mom always taught us, one fight, we all fight. So we jumped a lot of people growing up. Me and my brother, you know, and that is one of the things, that's how we're raised. And if one didn't fight, you know, the one that didn't fight and didn't jump the guy we're fighting, the one son would get whooped. So, you know, we were raised a little different and wired a little different. So it's nothing I can really do. That's why I get really emotional in the sport when my brother's involved.
Yeah, I wonder if they had their father was involved in the picture. But yeah, like the other brother, I knew like his video of him getting arrested was really weird.
Brockman, you want to ask the question about his household and growing up that you wanted to ask Chandler Jones? Chris Brockman, my colleague. Go for it.
Sorry. So Chandler, I also went to Syracuse. Go Orange. You grew up, your brother, pro football player, Super Bowl champion. Your other brother, maybe the greatest UFC fighter of all time. How much milk did you guys go through growing up? Like boxes of cereal, pancakes? How many pieces of furniture got broken? Like, what was it like just roughhousing back in the day?
Yeah, we actually, growing up, my father actually bought a wrestling mat and put it in our basement just so we
So they did have a father, and they grew up in a fighting household.
wouldn't break furniture. So when we get home, as soon as we get home, we would take our backpacks off and we would go in the basement. We'll just get 5-minute rounds apiece and we'll just wrestle. And then by the time we're tired, we'll come up and shower and get ready for dinner. But every day it was a wrestling match. And everything was a competition. You know, we were running around the house. Who could open the refrigerator the fastest? Who could drink the most milk? Whatever it was. So
That's a fire childhood right there. I actually like that, bro.
we would eat anything. And we're not picky eaters. My mom would just make a big pot of whatever, and we'd all eat it. So it was fun growing up, honestly. And we were very family oriented. We all shared this bedroom in a two-family apartment. So that was fun. Those were the great times for sure.
You shared what? Did you say you shared?
We shared the same bedroom, all three of us. Yeah, we shared the same bedroom.
Oh my God! I've got 3 kids in my. You know, I'm thinking that's not a bad idea to get in a wrestling mat. So your dad's like, screw it. This is potentially dangerous and expensive with so much around here. He would just put a wrestling mat down, and that's it.
Yeah.
Say go.
And get it out of the way. Get it out of our system before we get to the furniture.
Now, did he have a vision, and was the mat octagon shaped? Was that possible?
No. It was we all wrestled. All 3 of us wrestled growing up. So it was a high school wrestling mat with the circle where you shake hands and.
Wow!
Yeah.
I thought it was just
all 3 of us were wrestlers growing up.
Really? So he legitimately said, "I'm just gonna. If your guy's gonna wrestle, we're gonna get a mat and we're gonna make this official." Like that.
No. W Dad. Growing up, me and my brother, my little brother wasn't a fighter as much. He's an athlete, but he didn't really fight. So me and my big brother, we were the fighters of the family. And my big brother, he got me into boxing at a very young age. Yeah, he got me into boxing at a very young age. Like, I would say, like, middle school, where I started boxing, and we would, like, bro, he'll take me to the gym, and then we went to a place called, I don't even want to say places because, I don't know, the internet's kind of weird. But we went to a gym here, and the gym didn't have any trainers for real, so he trained me, which was very interesting because he was extremely rough on me. For example, one of the training sessions that we did was me and then my 2 buddies, right? And then my brother, he was overseeing the whole thing. And he's like, okay, cool. Dylan, you're going to spar your 2 buddies. We're going to go 12 rounds. However, 1 round, 1 buddy's going to go in, and then the next round, the other buddy's going to go in. So that means they get rest between rounds, however, you don't. Let's just say that ended very badly. That was one of the drills that we did. We would spar a lot, so we would box a lot. Fun fact, my big brother is the only person to actually knock me out cold. Mind you, he's 7 years older than me. So I'm in middle school, about 8th grade. This dude's in college, bro, and he's knocking me out cold. Like, it's actually ridiculous. No, but I love my brother. I'm glad he did that because it made me the man I am today. And now I am a fantastic fighter, fantastic at boxing. So shout out my big brother. And then we also did jiu-jitsu, which is similar to wrestling, but it's not. I think it's actually a little bit more dangerous. I wouldn't say dangerous is the word. I would say a little bit more useful because jiu-jitsu is actual arm bars, chokeholds, things of that nature. So we trained jiu-jitsu for 3 years of my life, and at an actual gym with like some black belts. It was crazy. And yeah, so he got me into jiu-jitsu, which was cool. And then me and him, we could like look at each other in a certain way, and we'll just get to throwing ourselves, just fighting. That reminds me of a story. My dad, he told me to go to sleep, and I never slept at night. I still don't. They still beg me to go to sleep early, but I just can't. So my dad, he's like, Dylan, go to bed. You have to go to bed. I'm like, all right, bet, cool. But I did not go to bed. I left his room, and I went straight to my brother's room. And mind you, he was like upstairs, right? So boom, I went straight to my brother's room, and I just got to wrestling him. Tell me why my brother has me in a chokehold, right? Next thing you know, I feel whoopings on the back, bro. What? I'm getting whoopings. So I'm getting jumped by my big brother, and it's my dad, bro. He whooping my ass, dude. So I'm getting jumped by my big brother and my dad, bro. And then immediately it took a second, but my brother understood what was going off and got off of me. And my dad just kept whooping me. He's like, bro, didn't I tell your ass to go to sleep? And I remember I was just crying, bro, and just went downstairs and just went to sleep, bro. Yeah, so anyways, I'm gonna go. I got some food on the pan. I'm gonna be alright. Nah, but yeah, everything I said though, I love my family. Yeah, I was abused, but it made me tough. So I don't regret it. You know what I'm saying? Don't feel bad for me, because I turned into a strong dude that understands reality, and the reality is that violence is the base of humanity. If we don't agree on something, people get violent. So yeah, we grew up. I just grew up in a tough household full of boys, and that's what's gonna happen. Boys are gonna fight. So I actually really like that Jon Jones and his brothers grew up in a fighting environment, and guess what it created? Jon Bone Jones, the best UFC fighter ever. So yeah, I think young boys should fight. When I have children, I'm gonna put my children in boxing and in jiu-jitsu classes. They have no say. I'm not gonna negotiate with children. My children are gonna be in boxing and jiu-jitsu. I'm gonna put them in basketball and soccer. Soccer for the footwork, basketball just because I like basketball. And if they don't want to play sports, they're definitely gonna learn how to fight. At least they're gonna learn how to fight, and they're gonna hit weights. I refuse to not have athletes as sons. Back to the video.
What happened?
Yeah, we had headgear and the wrestling shoes and singlets. It was a thing.
Who won?
It was a thing. We'll have to dig up some pictures, and I can maybe get it on the show.
Yeah.
Who won? Yeah. I mean, Arthur was always always bigger than us. But the one thing what was advantageous for me is that I stopped wrestling. Both of my brothers, they wrestled for their whole careers. They're actually both state champion wrestlers.
Wow.
I stopped wrestling and started playing basketball, and everyone made fun of me, saying, you're the dribbling guy, and you everyone makes fun. All the wrestlers make fun of the basketball players. It was a winter sport as well. But I think that's what made me more athletic. My brothers, they really can't catch, they can't jump, they can't throw. It's just because they wrestle. That's all. And I think I credit to basketball for that.
How was your game? Hoops. What was your game?
Oh, hoops. Oh, I'm pretty good. I won't say I'm the best on the team. DeAndre Hopkins is the best on the team.
Oh, come on now. Well, we know he's got great hands. So what's D-Hop's basketball hoops game like?
Yeah, so I would definitely get my son involved with jiu-jitsu, boxing, soccer for sure for the footwork. You need to understand the footwork. And basketball. Basketball has good hand-eye coordination. And yeah, I wouldn't mind if he did some wrestling though. I would not mind.
He discovered mixed martial arts, a discipline that will become his life's calling. Driven by a fierce determination, Jon set his sights on becoming a fighter, honing his skills with unmatched focus and intensity. Though his story would later be littered with controversy, as we'll get into, Jon's extreme talent and unrelenting drive are nothing short of superior. In his early years, he trained tirelessly, often sacrificing typical teenage pursuits for long hours in the gym, laser focused on one goal: to be the best.
Who was Jon when he first walked into the camp? Who was that guy?
He was an eager student. Jon just wanted to learn, very eager to be the guy. I remember we went out one time and he's like, oh man, what is it like to have, people come up to you and want to take pictures? And I'm like, one day you'll find out,
And still counting.
He became one of the UFC's most promising fighters, even dropping out of college to chase his dreams. By the age of 23, he had achieved what many could only aspire. He became the youngest champion in UFC history. This was not just a personal victory, but a moment that made history in the sport.
Jon Jones is the youngest champion in UFC history!
But with this unprecedented success came fame, and perhaps too soon. You see, sudden stardom and success, especially at such a young age, can contribute to what some would term a god complex. For someone as young and exceptionally talented as Jones, this swift rise to fame distorted the boundaries that ground most people. According to psychologists, excessive validation, especially at a formative age, can distort one's self-image. In Jon's case, constant praise and attention may have led him to feel as though the rules don't apply to him, creating a powerful sense of entitlement and narcissism. It's common for young athletes in Jon's position to develop a distorted reality where everything revolves around their talent and image. When young individuals like Jon achieve such monumental success, They often become isolated in an echo chamber where everyone tells them they're the best. This type of environment reinforces their self-belief to the point where they start to feel invincible. Fame amplifies this effect, with people in their orbit praising them, handling their problems, and sometimes even bending the rules on their behalf. For someone as young as John, these messages became a reality that could cloud judgment and encourage reckless behavior. Psychologically, there's also an element of brain development. Research shows that the human brain continues maturing well into one's mid-20s, particularly in areas related to decision-making and impulse control. For young champions like John, navigating fame without a fully developed sense of long-term consequences can be dangerous. Unfortunately, John didn't have the proper support systems to manage these.
Yeah, I heard that getting rich while young is one of the worst things that can happen to you because of stuff like this. Especially if you get rich off, like, let's say you're young and you win the lottery. Worst things that can happen to you because you don't understand what it takes to truly get money. He obviously didn't win the lottery. He worked for it. But even though working for it, that fame, the money, the power at such a young age, without probably having a proper foundation, will mess you up.
Pressures healthily. With fame and fortune constantly fueling his lifestyle, he began to develop unhealthy coping mechanisms, eventually entangling his career with bouts of substance abuse and legal troubles. John's struggles with substance use can be traced back to his college years when he started drinking to manage his anxiety.
And I always felt like I needed alcohol to be cool, to conquer anxiety or whatever. I never really had the opportunity to develop a healthy relationship with it. It just went from high school to college when you get party even more to being famous. So my relationship with alcohol, it became unhealthy, and I never went through a period of time where I had a healthy.
You do not need physical things to make your spiritual feel good. So if you have some spiritual inner anxiety, something physically will not help it. I remember I used to smoke a lot of za, and I would say, oh, it helps me focus, or it helps me talk more. It helps me talk better. Reduces my anxiety, whatever the case was, but it really just isn't true. Nothing that's physical, and it speaks about this in the Bible, nothing that's physical or that the world gives you is actually going to solve what's internal, because you are an internal being, right? And this physical is all temporary. So this temporary life and this worldly things like alcohol, the drugs, the women, whatever it is really not going to fulfill your soul. And if you're having anxiety or if you're not feeling good, it's because your soul or the God within you is telling you, hey, you're doing something wrong. Let's work on it. Let's retract. Let's meditate. Let's get back. Let's connect to your spiritual, to your higher self. So nothing physically is going to help that anxiety.
Mature, responsible relationship with it.
At first, alcohol may have seemed like a solution, a quick way to escape the pressures he faced. But as John's fame and success in the UFC grew, his drinking habit expanded to include different types of drugs, creating a cycle that became harder to control. This tendency to rely on substances as a form of relief is not uncommon amongst high-performing individuals. For many, reaching the pinnacle of success brings on immense pressure, and without healthy outlets, they may turn to self-destructive habits that threaten to unravel their achievements. There's a psychological phenomenon at play here, one seen in many successful individuals: the tendency towards self-destruction. After reaching a point of accomplishment through hard work and discipline, some people start to feel they've earned the right to indulge in potentially damaging habits, whether through overeating, excessive partying, substance use, or other forms of escapism.
He likes to blow off a little bit of steam, and it's kind of like his ritual that he does where, it's like a little celebration to himself, and it's kind of like his thing where, he'll go and he'll party like 4 weeks before he fights, and then he'll finish the rest of his camp.
Blow off a little too literally, unfortunately.
Yeah, a little too literally.
Success brings new pressures, and ironically, the very habits that help reach the top can begin to give way to behavior that could bring it all crashing down. For John, several elements likely contribute to this self-destructive path. He had already developed a pattern of using alcohol to manage stress and anxiety in college, setting the groundwork for a coping mechanism that would escalate over time. After becoming the youngest UFC champion, the intense pressure and scrutiny of his status probably heightened his anxiety, pushing him towards more frequent and varied substance use as a form of release. His rise to fame may have fueled a sense of invincibility. As one of the most talented fighters in UFC history, John could have felt that no matter what he did, his natural ability would allow him to win. This feeling of being untouchable likely reinforced his willingness to take risks and engage in reckless behavior, as if he could party as hard as he wanted and still maintain his fighting prowess.
He takes risk in that cage, and he lives like that. You know, he takes risk in his life too. You know, and it's.
His anxiety was actually probably one of his superpowers. People like to label depression and anxiety as like very bad things. However, if you flip it and you're like, you know what? Anxiety is what? It's worrying about what could happen, right? For example, you almost need a sense of anxiety, especially as a fighter, because that pressure and that energy behind the anxiety is like, bro, I need to lock in. I need to perform. And that is probably one of the secrets of Jon Jones' success, his hyper anxiety. I think he said in an interview before that he was super scared of Rampage Jackson. And he thought he was going to get knocked out, which what gave him power to get into that fight or flight to be able to beat Rampage.
It's part of who he is. You know?
I was able to win my fights, and I felt as if it really wasn't affecting me and that bad. You know, I would go out on the weekend, and then Monday morning I'd be the first guy to practice, working harder than everybody else. So I felt as if I can get away with that.
With high anxiety, the need for release, and a sense of grandiosity, Jon's pattern of drinking and drug use became a temporary escape between bouts of intense training and competition. But soon, this inability to curb these behaviors would threaten his career and reputation. As his substance abuse worsened, Jon started encountering legal trouble, tarnishing his public image and bringing instability into his career. After his championship win in March 2011, it took just over a year for the first major incident. In May 2012, Jon crashed his Bentley into a pole whilst driving under the influence. He was fined $1,000 and received a 6-month driving suspension. This incident marked the beginning of a pattern of legal and personal challenges that would follow him in the years to come. By January 2015, Jon faced off against his biggest career rival, Daniel Cormier, a highly anticipated fight. Jon won, but it was revealed 3 days later that he had tested positive for cocaine before the bout. However, because this drug test was actually concluded over 30 days prior to the fight, the result didn't impact the official outcome, and Jon's victory stood. Yet the public scrutiny intensified. As part of what seemed like an effort to address the issue, Jon checked himself into a rehab facility, but this commitment was short-lived. His mother later revealed that he left the facility after just one night, underscoring his ongoing struggle to confront his substance abuse. These incidents highlight the complexities of addiction. Many individuals turn to substances to mask.
Hey, yeah, whoever's watching, if you've done Coca-Cola before, drop a 1.
Anxieties, escape stress, or fill emotional voids. For Jon, this cycle of relief, followed by guilt and self-doubt, was a manifestation of cognitive dissonance.
Bro, I went to a party I think it was like last month. Yeah, last month, and I got offered coke at the party, and I was like, bro, watch out, bro. Oh no.
Psychological state where one's actions conflict with their values and beliefs, creating a profound sense of relief, followed by guilt and self-doubt, was a manifestation of cognitive dissonance. A psychological state where one's actions conflict with their values and beliefs, creating a profound sense of inner turmoil. Jon publicly valued hard work, discipline, and dedication, yet his substance use contradicted those values. Every relapse likely deepened.
This is how I feel about publicly. I'm about morals, morality, respect. Privately, I like to listen to Ken Carson, like Playboy Cardi, like Destroy Lonely and shit.
His inner conflict, feeding a cycle that often leads to more self-destructive behavior. He would later claim that he wasn't a regular cocaine user.
Yeah, bro, this is why I'm about to start rapping, bro. I would just you know what? The solution is to just become better than Playboy Cardi rapper. Like, yeah, bro. I'm gonna just become better than them, bro. I'm gonna make a song after this video.
Simply being caught slipping.
Ariel, look you dead in your eyes. I don't like coke. I'm not a coke guy. I tried cocaine one night and the athletic commission's there the next day. How in the world did this just go down? How did it happen this way?
According to Jon, his drug use wasn't habitual. He was influenced by the party environment and tried cocaine out of curiosity. However, this tendency to indulge in reckless behavior when in social settings was a dangerous pattern that ultimately led to even bigger problems. And after a night of partying and drinking, the biggest controversy of his life would ensue.
Could I ask what's your biggest regret?
My biggest regret out of everything, it was hitting the pregnant woman in that hit and run car accident.
The guy that's getting out of the SUV, he took off running.
Dude, I wonder if this is that fighter's car. Jon Jones? Well, he's fucked. Yep, he is.
In 2015, things would take a darker turn. Following the night of one of his parties, he would run a red light and crash into another vehicle, which then collided with a third vehicle. Jon, in a state of panic, would immediately flee the scene.
Police Police are still looking for UFC champ John Bones Jones for a hit-and-run crash that happened.
Why do you think he left, chat? I mean, I think he probably left because he was under the influence or something. If he was drunk, whatever drugs that he was on, I think that's why he left.
Yesterday.
First, I realized I wasn't hurt. So, I think subconsciously I just figured, all right, nobody's gotten hurt. I'm not hurt. Maybe we didn't hit that hard. I just thought to myself, man, I probably
lie.
still smell like the night before. I need to get myself out of here.
Nah, he was definitely drunk.
Rather than see if the other parties involved in the crash were okay,
but he woke up and drunk a 40.
He was only worried about how bad it would look on him if law enforcement came.
Hey, but John Jones, if you watching this, bro, I completely respect you. I'm just calling it out, bro. But you're still the GOAT, bro.
Found the alcohol on him. He assumed because he was
I
okay,
don't respect this action though, and I know you don't either.
The other parties were okay, when in reality, anything could have happened to them. There could have been a kid in the car for all he knew. Instead, he fled. This shows narcissistic traits, self-centeredness, and a lack of empathy. Because what turned out to be the case was that the lady in the car he hit was actually pregnant. Luckily, she didn't suffer any fatal injuries. However, that wouldn't have been to John's knowledge at the time. Even when questioned about how he felt after hearing about who he hit, the self-centeredness still prevailed.
When you found out that there was a pregnant lady who was injured, what was your reaction to that?
I started thinking about the fact that I could go to jail for the rest of my life. I was miserable. I was extremely depressed. I was just thinking about the fact that I could never see my kids again and my wife again. So it was a lot for me. At that time, I wasn't even thinking about fighting again. I was just thinking about, my freedom being taken away.
Talking about the event and how he reacted after hearing it was a pregnant lady, John mentions himself before the victim, thinking about his freedom being taken away instead of expressing any remorse or guilt towards the victim. Again, showing that lack of empathy and proving his narcissistic self-centeredness. The thing is, to make it to the top of industries like sport or business, arrogance is often needed, and arrogance often breeds narcissism. John Jones, having to make sure the UFC world centers around him and his success he's had as a fighter, may have slipped into the real world, where he believes it's all about him. That same entitlement and strong ego stood out in a moment like this. John turned himself into authorities the following day and was released on $2,500 bail. Subsequently, the UFC stripped him of his light heavyweight title and suspended him indefinitely. With this whole scenario, psychologists call this moral disengagement, a state where one's mind rationalizes harmful actions to protect the self-image. This allows a person to detach from the morality of
John
their
Moment,
actions.
Kubi, why do you have two accounts? There's Kaz Kubi that typed and then Kubi33.
Justifying their behavior to avoid facing guilt. For Jones, his success may have fed his sense of invincibility, making accountability a foreign concept, which made him able to flee the scene to protect himself. And although this was one of his lowest ever points, and he vowed for a change in his behavior, John Jones would continue to be the villain.
Hey, are you still there?
I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah,
You're
I'm
just
here.
the fakest person. I actually admire that you can actually be this fake. And like when the TV comes on, how you can just change. It's like you're a chameleon.
One of the most notorious rivalries in UFC history was between John Jones and Daniel Cormier.
Nah. I'm gonna keep it 1,000. I made a second one on accident, but I'm on a laptop right now. I typed the other one account. Bro, I'm gonna keep it 1,000 though, bro. I'm here. If you have this goatee but no mustache combo, bro, bro, don't come near me, bro. This is such like I just know you're weird, bro. Like, I do not trust you if you have no mustache but a goatee combo.
Their verbal sparring became as iconic as their physical clashes in the ring. But for Jones, the rivalry seemed to feel something deeper, a need to dominate his opponent, not just physically but psychologically. Now, I don't want to get the lines blurred because trash talk is completely normal and almost necessary in combat sports to sell more tickets.
True.
They typically don't have a real hatred for each other but pretend to for the fight. And that may have been the case here, but I believe there's a bit more to it for us to analyze.
You are just terrible. You're the f***ing scum of the earth. You are a terrible human being, but you can sure turn it on, huh?
Thank you.
John had been so dominant in his career at this point, but I think there were two reasons that Daniel Cormier brought out his best performances but the worst of his character. DC was his most skilled opponent yet, and John may have had a genuine fear of losing to him. This may have been why he believed if he could dominate him psychologically, it could weaken him for the fight. To add on to this point, DC was in a better life position at this time. He had a family, no legal troubles, and fit into that role model persona that John couldn't fulfill. And this caused John to reach into that arrogant side of his.
I'm sitting on 10 mil, baby. What
Yeah,
you sitting on?
you're-
More money than you and your whole family.
Doesn't matter.
However, this didn't come without DC's own comments, ones that would trigger John.
I wish they would let me next door so I could spit in your f***ing face.
You know I would absolutely kill you if you ever did something like that,
You
right?
could never kill me.
Oh, I bet you I could. I'm not saying I would fight you. I said I would kill you if
John,
you did some
do you
serious
think?
shit like that.
So John, do you think I'm just gonna sit there and let you kill me, John?
You see that switch on John's face, that he is literally considering murder if he was spat on, whilst Daniel Cormier thinks it's still trash talk. There's a darkness behind those eyes, a man who is definitely capable of evil, but knows how to turn it on and off for the cameras, a chameleon, as DC called him. Jones would win both fights against DC, however on the second fight, he proved that he did have that fear of Cormier, as he got caught using steroids, and the fight would be ruled a no contest. Using PEDs and lying about it was straight up deception from John. He lied to his fans, he ruined DC's self-image, making him think he lost fair and square, and he showed how his ego craves domination. He won the first fight, but he didn't finish or submit Cormier, it went the distance. So maybe this time, to ensure full physical and psychological domination, he had to cheat to ensure he got that finish. Studies indicate that individuals with these tendencies view rivals as personal threats, pushing them to crush the competition by any means necessary. For Jones, this need to be the best at all costs was a central theme in his life, and his downfall. I mentioned John being a chameleon, knowing how to change for the cameras whilst being different in private, and although he again vowed to change, things would continuously get worse. John hadn't kept his nose clean after being banned from the PED usage. He was once again arrested for driving under the influence.
Reach behind the passenger seat, grab me that open bottle.
So I do have to place you under arrest for DWI, okay? Yes, sir.
A recurring issue with alcohol and vehicles that John was still unable
what this is, it's a law of attraction, bro. He's just attracting all this negativity to his life, and he's not learning from his actions, and I think that's the biggest problem. I was listening to Joe Rogan. He was like, it was Joe Rogan and Theo Vaughn, and they're talking about regrets. And Joe Rogan, he was like, yeah, I don't regret a thing in my life because everything that happened negatively, I learned from it, and which actually turned into a positive, which is beautifully well said and makes so much sense. But the problem is when you don't learn and you keep fucking up and you keep making mistakes, and then when you know you're doing wrong but you're still doing it, you're attracting that negativity,
which prevent himself falling back into. But this wouldn't be his worst moment. John would be inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame, a great achievement. However, the same night of this accomplishment, the police would have to get involved in John's family life.
Got a possible DV call, domestic violence call.
No.
Female is bleeding from the nose and mouth while the male is up at the room. And he's actually a professional MMA fighter, Jonathan Jones.
Do you have a name for her at all?
Jesse Moses.
John would celebrate by heading to the strip club with $10K in cash, before returning home, apparently drunk, and in front of his own kids, John would assault his fiancée. Police responded to the report, and when arresting John, he proved once more how his dark psychology operates.
Officer Nerd, calm down, bro. Heard me in my Hall of Fame night, just because I'm big and black. A black man can't drink, getting elected into the Hall of Fame, and now this is what I got.
Instead of acknowledging his wrongdoing.
Yeah, bro, that's a form of self-sabotage right there. But he got elected to the Hall of Fame, and then went home and then went to the strip club. How are you gonna go to the strip club and then go beat your wife right after, bro? That's actually ridiculous, bro. And then on top of that, then he tried to play victim. He tried to play victim in that situation. So this is overall just a huge, unfortunate John Jones moment. But I think he's, again, hopefully that he's learning from these mistakes and he's growing from them. But yeah, just a huge L all around right there. You can't get drugged to beat your wife no more. That's what I'm saying. You can't. I mean, you can't. I don't know why he's on that though, bro. You celebrate by going to the strip instead of with your family, and then when you come home to your family, you beat on your wife. Like I don't get it, bro. But again, the reason I don't get it is because I'm a sane individual. At this time, you have no idea what he's going through. You have no idea what's going through his head, and you have no idea what demons he's actually facing, especially being the most dangerous man on the planet with all the money and fame and resources. And you never know his environment as well and his foundation of what he grew up on. So all of those play a factor in this right here.
Being quiet and waiting for his lawyer, John stoops to the level of self-victimization and deflection that makes it hard to even feel.
Gunfight tournament, I could play selfie. Hey yo, I'm literally dead thinking about playing, bro. I'm down to play right after this, bro.
Sorry for him. Using the "it's because I'm black" card in a situation where you just abused your fiance is bottom barrel, and the continuous pointing out of it being his night, his special day inducted into the Hall of Fame.
This is what I got again. That's victim. People that use their black card, I think it's just all victim shit, bro. Like, it's really just, bro. Don't be a victim.
Completely confirms his narcissism and
completely embrace who you are. If you have the belief, oh, I'm black, so I'm gonna get abused by police, then that's what's gonna happen, because you create your laws to the universe. What you believe comes true. So, and then your vibration is gonna repel that, and you're gonna attract that. Compared to me, even though I'm a little browned, when police come around me, I'm insanely respectful, because I understand I'm not my color or my skin. I'm an educated young man within my soul. So then I come completely respectful to police, talk to them very nicely, and then have the energy of like, hey, we're friends and we work together and we're here to make society a better place. Police, I have a very good time with police. But if you want to come victim, I'm black, so they're going to mistreat me, this is that, I'm scared, that's what you're going to get in the world. It's basically just having bad beliefs based on your physical skin instead of understanding who you truly are within. That's a bar, write that down.
Grandiosity. Just like how he didn't care for the woman he crashed into, only worrying about himself and potential legal troubles, he now doesn't care about the love of his life that he just harmed, but instead, he's the one hard done by. This was his first time getting caught for something like this, and she was very hesitant to tell the police the details, so we can only imagine what else would have happened.
W girl.
This incident marked a critical point in Jones' story, delving into traits associated with psychopathy, impulsivity, disregard for consequences, and manipulation. While psychopathy isn't a clinical diagnosis for Jones, his behavior fits certain patterns, such as a lack of empathy and poor
Dana White says this guy got a lot of demons, man, a lot of demons. And it's interesting, like, he was training, he was a great athlete. Bro does not say thank you for the follow. Hey, I'm gonna keep it 1,000 with you, bro. I do not see your guys' follows. My fault, foreign boy Ryan, I have no idea who followed me this entire time. If you followed me, bro, thank you, I appreciate it. But let me see, I can't see them. Appreciate the follow though. Back to what I was saying, Dana White, he says this guy has a lot of demons, man. Yeah, bro. It's interesting how training, he was like fine. I guess childhood was cool. And then, I mean, I don't really know too much about it. And then as soon as he gets some money, but he turns into a D1 crash out, bro. But the reason is because money and fame are only amplifiers of what you truly are. And if I'm being completely honest with myself, I trust myself with money and fame. I think I have a pretty good foundation within my family and within who I am and with my knowledge of who I am right now. I think that he said, you're welcome. I'm used to people saying thank you and going crazy. I was just surprised that I got no reaction. No, my fault, bro. I'm not sure why my follows isn't showing up. My mini feed right here that's supposed to show my follows is like only showing follows from 2 years ago, bro. So I'm not sure why that's the case, but my friend, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate you. You actually just motivated me to fix that. So I'm going to fix that, make sure that the follow thing shows up when people follow me. But thanks for watching, bro.
Control. In this moment.
But yeah, so money's an amplifier, and I'm going to trust myself with some money when I'm older.
When his outburst about race showcased a deflection, an attempt to evade responsibility by
did anybody smack his head against the car right there?
Shifting the narrative away.
They normally would try to break the chair or scream, and I'm like, it's just a follow. Nah, I might scream if you send me a dono. Nah, but thank you though again.
From his actions. Jon Jones' story is a study in contrast. The athlete who reached legendary heights, but was weighed down by his own dark psychology. His tale warns of what happens when talent meets unchecked ego and unresolved demons. It's a story without a clear end, as Jones remains haunted by the same struggles. This analysis isn't a diagnosis, but rather a lens through which we can understand Jon Jones' choices. Narcissism, addiction, cognitive dissonance, and perhaps even psychopathy. These elements intertwine to shape a man both gifted and troubled. Ultimately, The Dark Psychology of Jon Jones is a reminder that fame and talent can come with a steep price.
True.
One that few can afford to pay.
Why bro speaks everything so educated? Because I'm an educated individual, bro. I take pride in being educated. But yeah, so every time you try to use physical substance to try to help your inner being, I think it makes life 10 times worse, which goes back to my interpretation of the Bible, which is if you choose worldly things to try to make your inner feel better, you're gonna live in a hell on earth. Hey man, how's your night going, bro? My night's going amazing, bro. How about you? So don't rely on physical things to make you feel better. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, I'm a saint, I'm perfect, I just drank a little bit of whiskey right now. That's bro, I'm doing good. Hey, I'm glad, my brother. What's good about your life? Bro speaks like Aura de Martel. I have no idea who that is, but I like how his name is Aura. Can you please play my music video and be honest about it? You know what, bro? I'll play your music video, bro. I'll play your music video. But yeah, if you want to like indulge in some drinking, some smoke, you know what I'm saying? Do whatever you want to do. It's cool. Like you could do it, but you don't use it to try to rely on your stress. If you're actually going through some hard times and you know that the substances aren't helping you, then truly sit back, sober up, and start to meditate, start to connect with your inner being, and start to look for resources online or in person, and start to reach out. And understand that you have all the power within your soul to feel good. You don't need something else to make you feel good. It's like saying, like, I don't understand people that are like, oh, I need to drink alcohol so I can be more confident at a party. It just doesn't work like that.